third base tier list time. Let's go ahead and rank every single Major League Baseball third baseman, all the way from elite down to backup / platoon, because just some guys, they shouldn't be playing every day. I've done tier lists on second base, first base, catcher as well. If you want to see that, there'll be a link to the playlist somewhere on the screen or in the description. Also, shout out the sponsor of today's video, Underdog Fantasy. It is definitely the best way to play fantasy sports, and right now I'm going to be hosting fantasy football season-long drafts all week long with you guys. All you have to do is click the link in the description, and when you sign up, use promo code GNM so that Underdog can match your first time deposit up to $100. They're gonna be $5 drafts where you can go up against me and everybody else in the community to see who knows the most about fantasy football. And what's great is you don't have to check after you draft these teams. Underdog automatically puts in the best players based on their points for that week, since it's a best ball competition. So again, if you want to play fantasy football with me, link is in the description. $5 leagues, and when you use my code Underdog, we'll double your first time deposit. So even if you only put in $5, you'll get another $5 for free that you can use to join another league of mine, or however you please. Maybe you want to play pickup. Here are my picks for the day. Thank you to Underdog for sponsoring the video, and I hope to see you guys in these drafts. Now let's get started. Okay, so we're starting off with Alec Bohm, of course, alphabetical order, and Alec Bohm is like, he's an okay hitter, and he's a butcher in the field. Like, I know he's gotten better in the field. I know he's gotten better at the plate. Truthfully, honestly, he is bang on average. Like, you look at his stats, you look at his numbers, you look at the value that he brings to the team, and he's basically a zero WAR player. There's just not really much there for Alec Bohm. I think he still has a chance to be better, but it hasn't really gotten there just yet. So I'm going to put Alec Bohm in average. He's not that guy, pal. Alex Bregman's a tough one to rank because I know he's a very good player, but is he playing at an all-star caliber level right now? Maybe. I think initially I want to put him in solid, and we'll kind of readjust. He's like kind of that gatekeeper. I think he's right on the borderline of all-star and solid. He's got some decent power. He's a good third baseman. Like, he's all around just a really good player. Probably makes him all-star value, but for me, I can't get past the idea that he goes in the solid tier. Again, gatekeeping. We'll see how it goes. Austin Riley, it's plain and simple. He is one of the best third basemen in all of baseball. He's going to go in the elite tier. He's phenomenal. He's improved defensively. Shout out to Ron Washington, the coach for the Braves, who's just made all their infielders significantly better. And of course, the bat is just one of the best. It gets overshadowed by guys like Ronald Acuna and Matt Olson on that team currently, but Austin Riley's numbers are fantastic. Gonna finish with 30 home runs, 100 RBIs, or close to 100 RBIs. It's like a 270, 280 average, a 125 WRC plus. Austin Riley's really sick, and it's crazy from where he started off when he came up to where he's at now, which is why you have to give prospects a chance, guys. They just sometimes don't come up and are instantly amazing. It's not that easy. Speaking of which, you've got Brett Baty. Brett Baty has not been successful thus far when he's been called up. Defensively, hasn't been that smooth. I think that's probably where the biggest improvement needs to come, is on the defense for Brett Baty. Although, I do think that if the Mets positioned him better, he would be more successful, because they just have this weird tendency of putting their third baseman in a spot where nobody else puts their third baseman in baseball, in between being in and deep on the infield, so you just get all these in-between hops. And he hasn't been great at the plate right now. In this exact moment, Brett Baty would be a backup platoon type player, a guy who you let him face the righties, don't let him go against lefties, be smart about how you use him. But I think Brett Baty is still going to be a very, very good player. It's just we've now seen a little bit more of him, and it hasn't been great. Doesn't mean I'm giving up. I'm still a huge Brett Baty fan. Yeah, so Brian Anderson was smoking hot to start the year, but it has cooled off massively. The offense has just tanked and tanked and tanked to a point where he doesn't even necessarily play every single day at third base. He's been using Andrew Monasterio as well. So for me, I think he's average. Man, that feels a little rough to Alec Bohm. That feels a little bit tough, but man, maybe Brian Anderson's just a backup platoon guy. I mean, he killed the Mets this year, but his numbers haven't been great since. I think for now I'm going to leave him in average, but there's a world where, again, I decide, maybe not so much. Eugenio Suarez, just okay at third base defensively. He's obviously got big power, swings and misses a lot. He's just whatever, and he's not really having that great of a season, especially with the power this year, which is weird because last year he showed a little bit more. I think this is what makes me move Alex Bregman, so I think we move Eugenio to solid and Bregman to all-star, because Eugenio and Bregman should not be on the same tier. Bregman is clearly the better third baseman, clearly the better player, and that's no knock on Eugenio. He's completely fine. I think he's better than the guys below him, worse than the guys above him. He's another one of these guys that feels like a gatekeeper between solid and average. Ildemaro Vargas. I love me some Ildemaro. That's a great name, electric name, but let's be honest, we know the deal with him. I mean, the Nationals got rid of their third baseman with Jeimer Candelario, and he's basically taken over because they have nobody else. So yeah, Ildemaro goes in the backup platoon. It's a great guy to have on your bench. I'd love to have him on my bench, not playing every day. day. Ooh, what do I do with Isaac Paredes? I think he goes in the All-Star. I think he goes in the All-Star tier. And again, don't look too much of where the guys are placed inside the tier. Not that important. But he's definitely in the All-Star tier. Absolutely mashing at the plate this season. Crushing for the Rays. Great power. He's got a WRC plus at 140 right now, which is just so incredibly high. I was tempted to put him in elite, but when you do think of the elite third baseman, they are in their own world because they also play good defense and mash at the plate. Isaac Paredes is not there yet, but he is one of the 5 to 10 best third basemen in all of Major League Baseball, and the Rays got him for basically nothing from the Tigers. Isaac is a stud. So Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, I don't care how well he's been playing, because I know Yankee fans were saying that when people were still slandering him. He's still just not an everyday player. Shouldn't be playing every single day. If he is, you don't feel great, especially at the third base position. It's not something that you're crazy about. I'm going to put him in backup platoon. He's a good fielder, but he shouldn't be playing every day. And if a 279 average with a 360 on base, 377 slugging, and 736 is when you're talking about him playing well, that's oh, IKF, don't slander him. Yeah, he's getting on base, but there's not a lot there for IKF. I don't care if you put him in average. He, to me, would never be the starter on my team. And if you're a Yankee fan who's fighting for him to be an average, you're smoking that copium. There's no way that you can be fighting for this guy. He just can't be your everyday third baseman like he is right now. And Josh Donaldson also stinks, so I really don't know who you pick. So I know Jace Peterson is wearing an A's hat, but he's a backup platoon player. There's no way around it, and he's not really playing that well with the Diamondbacks right now. It was a decent move for depth, but the amount that he's currently having to play is just not what Jace Peterson is meant for. Weirdly, at third base, there's so many elite guys, and there are also a bunch of dudes who shouldn't be playing every day. Jace Peterson, in my opinion, is one of them. I'm actually shocked the Diamondbacks don't have somebody better that they could put at third. I know Longoria's hurt. Manuel Rivera, I think they sent down. Jace Peterson just shouldn't be playing every day. Jake Burger. Ooh, where do I put Jake Burger? Because he cannot play the field. He is horrendous out there. But, he mashes way better than Eugenio Suarez. He mashes along the likes of the Alex Bregman, along the likes of Isaac Paredes. But am I going to put Jake Burger in the All-Star tier? Probably not. I'm going to put him in solid. I think he's a really good piece for the Marlins. I think he's more valuable than he is in an entire ranking, and maybe my opinion will change as he continues to be mashing for the Marlins. Burger is a barrel king, crushes baseballs. I'm going to put him in solid. JD Davis, he fell off quite a bit. Where do we put JD? I do think he's better than these guys, so I guess I'll go in solid as well. He has improved defensively, and again, goes back to Mets positioning. The Giants were like, hey, what if you play back because you have a cannon of an arm? And they were like, oh my God, look at him. He can make plays now. He has a great arm. Offensively, he has struggled since the first half, has not been the same, but JD Davis does do some things well, and I think he kind of is similar in this Eugenio, Jake Burger tier of just guys who are serviceable. You don't feel bad if they're there, but you can obviously improve. Jamer, where do you go? This one is super tough because I always go back to you know what? No, it's not super tough actually. Put him in All-Star. That's where Jamer belongs. Improved defensively this year, looked really good with the Nationals, and again, positioning, it's important at third base. He's obviously been crushing baseball, 17 homers, 35 doubles, 57 RBIs. He's helping out the Cubs a lot in their push for the playoffs right now, which is pretty shocking. Jamer's basically had one bad season of the last 4 since 2020, and that was the previous year, 2022. But we know the Tigers, it's whatever. Every other year, he's basically hit really well. Throw Jamer in All-Star. Let's throw some respect on his name. Jordan Diaz. Yeah, we're going to put you in the backup platoon role. Just shouldn't be playing every single day. It's the Oakland A's. They're looking for some kind of spark. I'm not going to say he's a bad player by any means, but I just don't really understand what we're doing here with Jordan Diaz, and it just doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, backup platoon. Maybe I'm being harsh on him. Now, a guy I won't be harsh on, Jose Ramirez, arguably the best third baseman in all of Major League Baseball. What a stud. Every single year, this guy is going to hit home runs, steal bases, play good defense, doubles, triples, home runs, RBIs. He walks a ton. He doesn't strike out. I mean, there is nothing not to like about J-Ram. Even what you would consider it as a down year for him, he still has the highest F4 among qualified third basemen in all of Major League Baseball at 3.9. Genuinely probably is the best third baseman in all of baseball. So good. Remember when him and Lindor were on the same team? Pretty crazy. Ooh, where do we put Josh Young? I love Josh Young a lot. I'm a big Josh Young fan. He's on my fantasy team. Always have been since he was at Texas Tech. I think I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit, and I'm going to throw him in the solid tier. I think he's a solid third baseman. There's definitely some swing and miss concerns, a lack of getting on base. He's not a big walker, so there are some things that have to improve. Defensively, he's fine over there at third base. I don't think he's absolutely horrendous. I don't think he's great either. Actually, I was wrong. OAA loves him. I think I'm just going to be a little cautious with Josh Young. I'm going to put him in solid. He feels like he's a little worse. Ke'Bryan Hayes is the rare third baseman right now who is disgusting defensively, cannon of an arm, great glove, everything that you'd want defensively from a third baseman, but he hasn't been able to put up the stats offensively. I'm a huge Ke'Bryan Hayes believer. I'm waiting waiting for the day where he hits the ball in the air because he still hits the ball very hard, just has to hit it in the air. Needs a little Yandy Diaz renaissance. I'm going to put Brian Hayes in solid. I really believe it. Maybe this one's a little crazy. Maybe it's nuts, but his glove is too good. And his bat, even as disappointing as it has been, is about league average, a little bit worse. I'm going to go solid for him. I'm going to go solid. Michael Garcia. He's an interesting player. I believe he's cousins with Ronald Acuna, if that's correct. I truly just think he's average. Like, I don't see necessarily this like crazy pop off where you're like, oh my goodness, Michael Garcia, this amazing player. His like OPS plus is around 100, I believe, on the year. He's been really solid at third base. I want to see a little bit more. I don't know. Looking at what's going on with him and Brian Hayes, they're actually shockingly similar. I apologize, Michael Garcia fans. I'm going to put him in solid. Feels weird, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to put him in solid. This third base tier list is a mess. Manny Machado's having a bad year. He's one of the best third basemen in the game. You got to show me a little bit more bad before I start to knock him down a few. Defensively, he's still sick. Offensively, he did struggle to start the season, but I believe he's been playing a lot better in the second half. And the Padres are just weird, man. There's like bad vibes over there. They're playing terribly. They're going to miss the playoffs, just like the Mets. I know. It's weird, but I still believe Manny Machado is an elite player. At worst, he goes down to here, but it feels dirty to put him outside of elite. You can get mad at me in the comments, but I'm leaving him there for now. He's just too good to be like not elite yet. All right, well, Matt Chapman was on pace to be an elite player this year. I think he goes in the all-star tier. Obviously great with the glove, but the bat has fallen off after the crazy hot start that he had to the season where you just couldn't get him out. My fantasy team was loving it. He has cooled off quite a bit though offensively. Great glove still, makes all the plays. I think he's in this tier though with the guys like Bregman, Paredes, Candelario. He's probably a more complete player because his defense is that good, but the offense has taken such a drastic step back after being so insanely hot. I just don't think that can put him in the elite category yet. For Matt Vierling, I'm just going to put him in average. It's weird that he's playing third base. I always think of him as an outfielder, but he's doing a decent job over there. He's like a league average hitter. Defensively, there's not really enough numbers yet to decide how he is defensively at third base or not, but I'm sure he's probably average at best. He does have a very strong arm though. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna put Matt Vierling in average. Feels right. And to be fair, it does now feel like having him there makes these tiers feel more sensible. Max Muncy. Oh, what do we do with Muncy? I mean, obviously defensively, not that great at third base. At the plate, he's so bizarre because he doesn't hit for average, but he hits for power and he gets on base. I don't think I'm gonna put him in all-star. I think he goes in solid for me too, which again makes it then feel weird that like Brian Hayes and Michael Garcia are here. But those are basically polar opposites, right? Muncy, great hitter, not so great defensively. These other two guys towards the end, great defensively, working on the hitting, still getting there. Muncy is just a good hitter. He is what he is. He hits bombs, he gets on base. Mike Moustakas, I don't think you feel good if you're playing him at third base every day, and he technically is like a platoon guy because I think Eduardo Escobar faces the lefties and he goes against the righties. I'll put Moustakas in average. He's hitting about league average this year. He has a strong arm, played a good third base in the past. I'm sure it's not as good as it once was. He's probably just an average third baseman, truthfully. At least he can swing it a little bit this year. Remember when Nolan Arenado stunk for the first like 2 months? Yeah, he's completely back. So sick, so awesome, so disgustingly good. The bat is filthy. The glove is filthy. Everything about Nolan Arenado is completely back to where we expected it. He is still chasing a ton, but that's kind of Nolan Arenado's thing. Pulling baseballs, hitting home runs, having a great season. Casually has like an 838 OPS after that horrendous start. So similarly to Machado, not dropping him out of the elite rankings just yet. He's still way too good to get out of there. Oh, if Rafael Devers could learn how to play the field, he would so easily be elite because at the plate, his bat is phenomenal. He's one of the best bats at third base without a doubt. I mean, 877 OPS this year, gonna finish with like 30 or so home runs, drive in 100. Like, there's nothing to not like about his offensive game, but defensively, he's just so horrible over there. So it puts him in the all-star tier. Again, don't look too deeply into what is inside the tiers, just where do they land. He's probably the 5th or 6th best third baseman in the game. He's probably just outside that elite tier of guys. So you know what? I'll just throw him at the top then just because I know some people are going to get mad. Oh, you think he's worse? No, he's probably the 5th best third baseman in baseball, which just keeps him out of elite. Ramon Urias, interesting one. He's more of a utility player, a little second, a little short if you want him to, a little third base. Hits about league average-ish. He's an average player. I think Ramon Urias is average. Again, you don't feel great if he's playing every day, but he's low-key put up some decent numbers in his career. Royce Lewis, been impressed with what I've seen. Now, obviously, he hasn't been able to beat the injury bug. He's only played 43 games at the major league level. But in those 43 games, hitting for a good average, he's swinging and missing quite a bit, which would be maybe the concern, but there's some real solid third baseman potential here, so I'm going to throw him in the solid tier. I think he's a really good third baseman. He was a former #1 overall pick. Like, there's definitely a very good player inside of him. He just has to stay healthy. Ryan McMahon, the Coors Merchant. I mean, he loves playing at home, and I think he's a solid third baseman. Very good glove at third base, good enough hitter at the plate. Like, he's low-key going to have like 25 home runs this year, 800 OPS, have about 75, 80 RBIs on the season, 25, 30 home run double guy. He's having a good year. Ryan McMahon's a solid player. Eventually, the Rockies will trade him to some team that's contending, and they will get a ton back for him, and he will be great because he's a very good baseball player. Spencer Steer also going in the solid tier. I'm learning there's a lot of really good third basemen. You just need some guys to differentiate each other, because this entire tier are guys that I think should be capable starting third baseman in Major League Baseball. The guys below them is like, maybe not. Spencer Steer can absolutely mash, like very, very good hitter, 810 OPS. Technically not his rookie season, but he's having a great rookie full year here in 120 games. The Reds are going to be moving him around. They're going to play him in left field, first base, third base. The Reds are getting super creative with their positioning. So this could be Noel V. Marte. It looks like it might be, but for now it's Spencer Steer when I recorded this, and I think he's a solid third baseman. He's just a good hitter. Yoan Moncada, what the heck do I do with you? He's been so bad since 2020. He hasn't been good. I mean, you're looking at an OPS plus of 94. I'm going to put Yoan Moncada in average. I'm not going to say that I'm done and given up on him yet. I mean, he's 28 years old. Like, when is the consistency going to happen with Yoan Moncada? I know he's had some injuries. I know he has some stuff going on, but it's like your music is better than you play on the field. In case you guys didn't know, Yoan Moncada makes music. Desastre Personal, low-key, a banger of a song. But just at the plate, so unimpressive. I'd love to see him get out of Chicago. Again, if you can get away from the White Sox, I think big things could happen. Yoan Moncada is probably one of those guys. So here's the tier list. We got 4 guys in elite, a bunch in all-star, a bunch in solid, average, backup, platoon. I'd love to know what you guys are thinking down in the comment section below. Where do you agree with me? Where do you disagree with me? Who did I overrank or underrank? Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed, as well as subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the content coming at you. Follow me on all my social media at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links are in the description. And that's where I'll wrap up today's video, guys. You know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video. This is my most recent upload. Click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow for another video. Bye!